The year was 1930. The smell of smoke and liquor filled the air at an old Mississippi blues bar. Two musicians, Willie Brown and Son House, who were best known for playing the Delta blues, performed to a bar packed with people. Just as the duo took a break from playing the music, a young 19-year-old boy jumped onto that stage, grabbed the guitar, and started playing what he considered to be the blues. Unfortunately, he would get booed off the stage rather quickly, with the crowd noting that his guitar playing was not very good. And with that, the boy's dream of one day becoming a blues musician shattered. Feeling embarrassed, he slowly put down the instrument and silently left the stage. And that was the last time anyone saw him. Until 8 months later, when that same boy took the stage and Robert Johnson made history. It might sound like the stuff of dreams, but people were confused as to how Robert Johnson was not just suddenly good at the blues, but he became a master at it. This left many speculating as to how he did it. But it was not until the release of tracks like Hellbound on My Trail, Crossroad Blues, and Me and the Devil Blues, where in some instances of the song writes about always being on the move, because there's a hellhound chasing him, and in other cases it speaks literally of the devil coming to collect on his debt. Of course, if you take it at face value, the song sounds nothing out of the ordinary, but when you combine the erratic behavior of Johnson, always moving from county to county, as well as the mysterious circumstances of his death, you start to wonder if the songs were Robert Johnson's way of leaving hints to what he was going through. But just how did Robert Johnson actually make a deal with the devil? Now, there's an old blues legend that tells the story of a crossroads where music legends are made. For you see, legend has it that if you wait at this spot past midnight, a figure will walk up to you and offer you the deal of a lifetime, one that will give you the keys to fame and fortune, the only cost being your soul. This story was first told by Tommy Johnson, but later, due to the mysterious nature of his life, was cemented into blues lore by Robert Johnson. In Robert Johnson's case, the story goes that one night, bearing all the hunger and hurt from his life, he went to the crossroads past midnight to play his guitar, and whether or not you believe the legends, just like clockwork, the devil himself appeared to Johnson and offered to tune his guitar for him for just a simple favor. The moment he got it back, like magic, he was suddenly able to play anything he desired. But at that moment, his fate was sealed and his soul was no longer his. Now, the term "a deal with the devil" is not something new. With the first official recording of it ever allegedly happening was the Theophilus of Adana, who was said to have sold his soul to the devil in the year 538. But what actually is it, and what does it entail? Usually, a pact with the devil comes from the inner dissatisfaction of wanting more in the world, from fame, power, fortune, to sometimes even knowledge. However, the price to pay was always the same: a wanderer's soul. Looking back at all the tales of when this happens, the devil is always able to tempt the dealmaker with something so irresistible that you forget how much value your soul is actually worth. In many cases, they end up giving their soul away, not knowing that it meant the life they were living was no longer theirs to live. And if you were looking for another piece of evidence that might point to Robert Johnson's sold soul, this next part might have the key to that. You see, even though Robert Johnson finally achieved godlike status in the realm of blues music, his life after that was pretty bleak and seemed like it was all downhill from there. After losing his wife Virginia Travis and child during childbirth, he was never the same again. He was performing every night in a different city under a different name, but you could say that his soul was no longer there, and the songs he was writing, though hits with the people, underlined the sadness, hurt, and demons that were catching up with him, and he would spend the rest of his time drinking and womanizing. One night after his set, as he sat down to have his usual glass of whiskey, he was handed a peculiar cup, and subsequently he died from poisoning. It was unclear who poisoned his drink, with some people saying that it was a jealous husband of one of the women that Robert was seeing, but others who paid more attention to Robert's music had different views. Views that he was not running from his demons of hurt and sadness, but running from literal demons and hellhounds that were sent to collect on his debt. And it was just a matter of time before Johnson needed to pay back what he owed to the devil. Robert Johnson was found dead at the age of 27 on the 16th of August, 1938. And even though his story ended tragically as an unnatural death, with many questions left unanswered, what significance does the crossroads play in the deal with the devil? And was there more to the crossroads legend than we originally thought? If you were to look at it metaphorically, the reason why the crossroads could actually hold so much significance could possibly be the fact that crossroads all point to the organization and the mark that humans leave on Earth. If you think about it, crossroads only exist because humans try to organize themselves into towns and cities. Without these infrastructures, the crossroads would never have existed. But on top of that superficial layer of organization and structure, it actually can go a whole lot deeper, as within these organizational structures, there is always the profit and loss paradox, which means that something has to give in order for something to gain. And in this instance, it can point to a lot of things: slavery, persecution, racism, and many more. Things that Robert Johnson was probably experiencing at that point in time. If we were to take the earth as a perfect creation from God, every unnatural addition to it by man would make it imperfect. And if the crossroads was the personification of all of it rolled into one, it would make sense that the devil would have the strongest hold on people in this specific area, as it is the place where humans were the most disconnected from God. If we were to reference the Bible, we would eventually see that the devil's sole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. And in this case, he was slowly entrapping humans with the promise of fame and fortune, with the final goal of condemning their souls for eternity. But American culture isn't the only culture with tales about the crossroads. You can see it dates back many generations across to the time when Europe and Asia were first paved by the Roman Empire. It is recorded that many dark rituals connected with witchcraft were performed at those crossroads, with some legends saying that the crossroads actually mark the end of a boundary that serves to keep humans in place and in control. So from witchcraft to the stains of humans on Earth, the pact of the devil could very well be a real thing. Question is, does the devil still do deals? In this day and age, it is very hard to pinpoint where everything really comes from. Some people say it's the Illuminati, others say it's the New World Order, but most people agree that one way or another, the entertainment industry has an agenda of its own, with notable people such as Jim Carrey, Mark Wahlberg, and even Kanye West coming out trying to blow the whistle on what's actually going on within the entertainment industry. Some influencers even swear by the fact that there's a secret club of elites that run the entertainment industry, often pushing out content as a way of subliminal messaging to push their own agenda. But if you look to every major outburst or scandal that was reported widely on the news, you'll see that behind it, there is always something that our attention is trying to be diverted from. The most recent behind Johnny Depp's and Amber Heard's trial, where people believe that the reason it was so widely broadcasted was because at the exact same time that it was going on, the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell was going on, and the elites of the world wanted that to go unnoticed. It is said that the devil's superpower is to remain invisible and hide in plain sight. Could participation in all these actually be what happens when you sell your soul to the devil? Interestingly enough, if we look back even further, there is a club that Robert Johnson was a part of that consisted of others such as Kurt Cobain, Brian Jones, Jim Morrison, Amy Winehouse, Janis Joplin, and Jimi Hendrix. People who rose to fame rather quickly but died at the age of 27, all under very mysterious circumstances, adding to the mystery that these people sold their souls to the devil. Of course, at the end of the day, we don't know what they don't want us to know, and we can't be sure of any of these claims. But one thing we do know is that the devil is the prince of this world, and his relentless objective is to rip apart humanity as we are God's greatest creation. But for now, we can only just wonder what exactly happened to Robert Johnson. Did he sell his soul to the devil, and was there something more sinister involved?